Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perspective TV, the talk show that discusses the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Today's topic will be about the 4 different ways people generally respond. And so Michael and I recently learned about this, and it's changed the way we view conversations. It's allowed us to be more considerate when talking to others, and it's allowed us to understand why some conversations can leave us feeling shut down, confused, and sometimes regretful for even beginning the conversation in the first place.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important aspects about what we learned about these 4 different types of responding is that now that there's a word for it, now that we can actively seek a definition for the type of response and then classify it, we can identify it. If you have the word for it, if you understand what it looks like and you can identify it, then you can control it. And I think that that's one of the most important things about actively seeking knowledge, is that by having the terminology for the thing that you are trying to describe, you can control it.
Yes.
So we've been able to change
agree.
these aspects of our personality just in these last 3 or 4 days, because I can say, hey, you're being active destructive.
Yeah. It's honestly that simple, because as soon as we put a label to something, we're able to see like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Which we'll save that until after. We'll tell you guys all the names.
So let's get into it.
So before we get into it, 1 out of the 4 is how we all want to, like, we all should strive to communicate.
We are going to
way.
share at the end the most ideal scenario and the type of communication method that you should try to seek out for yourself.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to act this out so you guys see this.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, babe.
Oh, wait. Take one.
Hey, babe. How you doing?
Hey.
So I just wanted to let you know something crazy happened to me at jiu-jitsu.
Oh, what was that?
So I was just training and my instructor told me to come next Friday and make sure I bring my belt because he wants to give me my first stripe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really important to me. I thought I should let you know, and I thought you'd be happy to hear it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Happy for you.
All right, well, I'm going to leave you alone now. I'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Now that was called passive constructive. How did that make you feel?
Like I don't matter.
Yeah, that kind of made me feel weird doing that. But
what
what else?
I feel that nothing I said mattered. So that also made me feel like I don't want to share anything with you in the future.
Right. You know, I see a lot of people do this when they're mad at someone.
Really?
Yeah, to show them that, oh, I'm mad. But this is actually the most destructive way of responding in any relationship.
It shuts you down. It makes me feel shut down. Like you're acting right now, and I know you're acting, and I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I swear to God, it has that impact.
Yes, it does.
Because I felt like I was bringing something important towards you, and then I actually felt like you didn't give a crap.
And didn't you feel like, why did I even tell her in the first place?
Yeah, I feel a little inexpensive.
Right.
I feel cheaper. So now I know in my mind, like if somebody ever did that to me, usually I'd give them the benefit of the doubt, you know. But if that was a repetitious action in their behavior, immediately I would be like, okay, listen, I'm just going to not share anything with this human being, and I'm going to be as surface to them as they are to me in this relationship.
Right.
So
I want you to pause this video, and I want you to think of a time that you either responded in this manner or you had someone respond to you in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find yourself doing this when you're upset at someone to get their attention, I just want to let you know that it is the most destructive way of responding, because it really is just childish and it's not going to get you anywhere. If anything, it's going to take longer to resolve the issue. So
I have something crazy to say.
What is it?
I feel like the only way to fix that relationship, because I feel like that immediately destroys the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally saying I don't care about you.
Right.
So I feel like the only way to address that issue, because let's say, for example, the next time I come to you and tell you something, you're engaged,
mm-hmm. and
you're not looking at your phone or being passive. I'll still have in my mind, she doesn't really care. I don't think she's caring right now either. I think she's still acting. I might have that in my mind. So I feel like the only way to fix a problem like that is for that person to come address it and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry I've been away, or I'm sorry I haven't been paying attention, you know, but that's not how I view this relationship.
Agreed. And if you do this unconsciously and it's not because you don't care, but because you have something on your mind or a lot of stress on your mind,
Gotta address it.
communicate that. Like, say like, hey, I'm so sorry, right now is not the time, like I'm not all there.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Right. Because
So-
if you don't communicate it and you just simply start caring again, me as a human being, I'm going to be like, okay, I see she's caring or he's caring. I still don't want to tell them anything,
Right.
you know? And that's just me. But I would say that communicating that maybe you've been a little distant for your own personal reasons is probably important.
Right.
Anyways, let's move on to the next one. So
All
that
right.
one was called what?
Passive constructive.
Passive constructive.
Yes.
Passive constructive. Let's do the next one. I'm going to use the same scenario. Okay.
All right, let's go.
What is this one called? This next one?
No, we'll tell them
Do them
after.
after? Okay. Hey, babe.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Guess what just happened to me?
What?
I just came back from jiu-jitsu and my instructor told me to come to class on Friday because he wants to give me my first stripe on my belt.
Oh my God, that just reminded me. I was just at a dance class and she put me at the front row because she said that I immediately was better than everyone.
That's amazing. They put you on the front row because of that?
Yes.
Well, that's really great. Well, I'm very happy for you. What can I say? That's awesome.
Thank you.
No problem. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye. I'm sorry. That was
Jeez.
so uncomfortable for me to turn it to me. My heart started racing. I'm like, oh my God. That was called passive destructive.
Okay.
How did that make you feel?
You'll see on the camera when you rewatch this video. I was like, what is she saying right now?
Yes. Sorry if I didn't make any sense. It was really hard for me
No,
to act
not
that
about
out.
that part. About the I didn't know you were gonna go into that because I haven't memorized the terms yet.
Yes.
So I didn't know you were gonna start talking about yourself. So I got a genuine reaction from it.
Okay, cool.
That's why I looked at the camera like, what is she saying right now?
Right. So passive destructive is when sure you're like kind of engaging, but it's all about you. You
It's
make
destructive.
Yes,
It
you make
destroys
the other
conversation.
person feel as if the world revolves around you.
Right.
And people who typically do this would be narcissists or people who are self-centered. And you know, sometimes I find myself doing this as well. Sometimes when I'm very excited about something and perhaps someone told me something that fired up something I've been wanting to tell them. So that's why it's important to understand these terms so that when you do it, you could say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I
Yeah.
made this about me. I wasn't trying to, go
Right.
ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
By the way, we have all responded towards other people in this manner before. Like
Exactly.
it's not like we've never done this. We've done this many times, but now you can just recognize that pattern because there are 4 types and now we're defining them. You could recognize that pattern and say, hey, I don't want this in my life and I don't want to communicate with people this way. So now it's like, hey, I gotta really watch out for this method of communication. So that was the second one. And that was when somebody is really self-absorbed or has something on their mind and they just can't wait to get it off their shoulders, regardless of the news that they're coming to you with. So watch out for these things. I feel like another thing to consider is the fact that perhaps, and I don't want to get into this too much, but perhaps this person is a little bit insecure about something, or perhaps this person is maybe even a little jealous about something. I don't want to get into that and make those kind of negative assumptions, but a lot of things could be happening in the response that they're giving you that causes them to be passive destructive.
Right. And so I want you to pause this video again and think of a time that either you have responded in this way or someone else has responded to you in this way. And the best way to actually memorize these terms is to put a name to it. So if someone else responded to you in this way, perhaps put their name on it and say like, oh, this person has responded to me this way. So you can remember it if you ever do it to someone,
Yeah.
That's what I did, and it's helped me remember it.
Yeah.
Not that we are identifying anyone as anything, but it just helps your memory.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on.
Take 3. Hey, babe.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I was just at jiu-jitsu. Guess what just happened?
What?
I went to my instructor and I was rolling, and my instructor said, come to class on Friday because he's going to give me my first stripe on my white belt. And it's very exciting. I've been working really hard the past few months towards it.
Your first stripe?
Yeah, like my first stripe on my white belt. Like I'm evolving.
So does that mean that you're still you're still learning the basics?
Yeah, I'm still learning the basics, but that basically means like I'm starting to evolve a little bit. I'm not a white belt anymore. I'll pretty much take on anybody that's been there for a month or 2 months. Like I have the skills necessary to beat somebody who has just started,
So does that mean that we'll still be in danger when we're outside? like out and about?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe if the person has a gun or is a professional.
Okay, well, that's alarming. Maybe you should move at a faster pace because it's kind of giving me anxiety.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm just not going to share any information with you anymore. How about that? That really pissed me off. That actually bothered me.
Okay.
Man.
No, that was good acting? Okay, cool. That was called active destructive. It means that you were still engaging, but you were very negative.
You are destroying them. That's what that means.
How did you feel?
Like very angry. My blood started to boil. I'm like, why? Are you kidding me? No. Like, why are you saying this right now?
Okay, so I find that a lot of people who do this typically have a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
That's why I said that it's making me anxious, because
That's true.
people who have a lot of anxiety or who are worrisome tend to look at the worst case scenarios in everything.
Yes.
It's not that they're trying to be negative or bring you down. It's that they're always looking at the worst case scenario, which is, it's okay. But to understand this and to say, okay, I'm being active destructive, maybe allows you to work on it and say, okay, maybe these areas in my life are in this way, like I need to heal.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. And that's actually a good point that you brought up.
Yes.
Because anxiety will kind of make you this way.
Yes.
It will, because you're literally thinking to yourself about all of the possible outcomes and options, trying to control every aspect of your life because you deal with this anxiety.
Right.
And you don't want to be in an excited and nervous state.
Right.
So you're actively trying to prevent any bad situation from happening, not realizing that you're destroying the relationship in front of you by constantly looking for a way to deconstruct what the other person is saying.
Right.
You're always trying to bring it down, you know.
Even if it's not intentional, that is what happens.
So be careful about this, because the way that just made me feel was like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Right.
I really don't. Like
and it leaves him feeling like, what did I say wrong for me to go there? Like, you know, it makes you second guess your decision. Now,
that wasn't the ideal way of responding to somebody who responds that way. I just responded naturally. You know, obviously it's better to be as patient as possible. Whenever you're being responded to in a way that you don't like, try to be as patient as possible and investigate. I think that's the best thing to do. Is if you get a response you're not expecting or you don't like or that makes you feel a certain way, investigate it. Why did you respond this way? Oh, this is what I said. Did you misunderstand me? I feel like that's important, but that's a separate conversation.
Right.
So that was the third of the 4 responses. Now we're going to list the last one. This is the ideal one.
Yes.
The first 3 are not ideal. This is the ideal one. So we're going to go over the scenario again, and you're going to respond, and everybody's going to see the difference.
But before we move on, I still want you to pause, reflect if you've ever responded in this way or someone else has responded to you in this way. And have some empathy for people, because like I said, you never know what anyone's dealing with and why they're responding the way they are. But it's to understand these terms allows you to really not take anything personal.
That's true.
You know, to understand where things are stemming from.
And it gives you more control.
Yes. Okay.
Ready?
Last but
Take
not
4.
least.
Hey, babe.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I was just at jiu-jitsu and my coach told me to come on Friday because he's going to be awarding me my first stripe on my white belt.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, I'm
How
so
do you
excited.
feel?
I'm so excited because I did it pretty fast.
Yes.
I'm getting good very fast. But also I've been working towards this for a long time, and it's not the stripe necessarily, it's the fact that wow, there's progress.
Right.
You know?
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You should be so proud because you've come a long way. And it's only been like what, a month?
It's been like 3.
Good for you. It doesn't matter.
No.
Whatever it is, I'm so
I
proud of
appreciate
you.
it.
Yes.
That's awesome. No,
Good stuff.
I'm very happy about it. So just wanted to share that with you.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, babe.
Of course.
No problem. That was great.
Yes, that was awesome. And that's the ideal way you'd want to respond. And if you're out there thinking like, wow, there's no way I can respond like that in a negative situation, you're wrong. Because there are ways of responding in a negative situation that still directs the conversation to them, right? Not making it negative, not making it self-centered, and not just being like passive and not attentive. There's ways of communicating with someone that is allowing them to feel that
They're being heard.
They're being heard.
I felt like I was being heard.
Right.
I came to you with information that I didn't have to, but I came to you with something exciting. I need to be at least matched with that energy. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I'm going to feel like I'm not being heard. Because if I come with a certain level of excitement and your level of excitement doesn't at least match my level of excitement, at least, then I'm going to feel like I'm not being heard.
Right.
And
that's called active constructive.
This is the ideal way of communicating in every scenario in your life. You want to be actively constructive. You want to be actively increasing or what's the best way? Actively, positively moving the conversation forward. So that's what active constructive is. And
that's why I said it doesn't necessarily have to be in a positive setting. It can be in a negative setting, and it's not that you're being positive, but you're directing the focus to whoever you're talking
That's
to.
True.
Let's say we were in a fight, okay? And he said something to me that I didn't like. I could have responded in any other way, but if I want to be active, constructive, I'd say, hey, are you having a good day? Like, are you having a bad day? I mean,
yeah.
And then he would respond, and then I would dissect that and say, oh, well, I noticed that you are a little on edge. Is there anything I can do to help? There's ways to communicate that will actually allow you and whoever you're talking to grow a deeper connection.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yes.
And I feel like before we end this video, I'm interested to see, what you think I am in terms of percentages. If you had to outline the percentages of my personality into the 2 or 3 or 4 categories that you see me, what percentage would you give me?
So that's key. Know that we are all not just one way. We don't all just respond in one way. I mean, it's ideal to, but we don't all just do that. Sometimes we respond in other ways depending on the circumstance. So for Michael, I would say that you are, can I go from least to best?
Sure.
Okay. I would say that 30% you are active, destructive. 30%.
Okay. That's a lot.
Then I would say 70% you're active, constructive.
So 70% active, constructive, 30% active, destructive, possibly due to anxiety and worry.
And then passive, constructive, like 10%.
10%?
10%.
So you got to take 10% out somewhere.
Okay, yeah. So I would say 10% passive, constructive. When I'm confronting you with something, you typically shut down or you respond,
Okay.
One word.
Okay.
Because you don't know how to respond yet. Like, it's taking you a minute.
Okay.
So that's also where that could stem from. 30% active, destructive. When you're like judging yourself so much, or I say something, you're looking at the worst case scenario because of anxiety and worry.
Yep, I agree. And then 60%.
And then 60% would active, constructive.
Try to ask somebody close to you to partition your response personality, because then you can see, okay, I'm only 60% ideal. That means 40% of the time that I'm communicating with people, I'm probably not responding positively. It's a big way to look at this. Now in my mind, it's okay, 10 times I'm talking to her 10 times, 4 of them are not ideal. That's not cool. Let's see if I can reduce that a little bit. And now that I can identify it, I know how to.
Yes.
So I'm going to do you now.
Okay.
I'd say you're 80% active constructive. So 8 out of the 10 times you are positively moving the conversation towards in a good direction, and if it's about me, it stays about me. Or if it's not about me, you try to make it about me. So you're generally a very positive person, and you move conversations forward 80% of the time.
I've worked on that.
I know. 20% of the time you're actively destructive, and the other 2 you don't do. So I would say that 20% of the time that we're communicating, you're actively destructive, meaning you're either trying to say something else, maybe unintentionally, or being negative about something I just said. Like you said, maybe because of your own judgments or your own things that you're going through, or perhaps you're seeing things much differently than I'm seeing them, or because of a lack of communication between us.
Yes.
That's usually what it is. There's a lack of communication, and you are assuming something. I'm assuming something. We have different perspectives about the same thing, and you'll tear it down. And I'm like, that has not. Why would you look at it from that light?
Right.
So I'd say 80% active constructive, 20% active destructive.
Cool. You see, now I still got to work on that.
Yeah. However, this obviously doesn't apply. Like if somebody in the street is coming up to you to like really disrespect you, I'm not saying be active constructive. Like there's scenarios that are obviously where it's like, hey, you know, how you doing? If somebody comes up to you in the street and punches you in the face, you know, how was your day? You don't do that. You know what I mean? These are for general.
No, but that's the thing. When you're being active, constructive, it applies to everything though. Because to respond means that you are responsible for your actions. You're responding. You are responsible.
Yeah.
So you're responsible for the way that you respond.
For sure.
No one else can dictate the way you respond.
I agree.
So if someone's coming to you on the street and they're trying to fight you, and let's say they haven't thrown any hands yet, you can still be.
Yes.
You can still stand firm and not cause any more turmoil. You don't gotta like scream at them and cause a bigger scene.
I agree.
You can stay firm, collective, and maybe say, "Hey, you know, everything good? Like, you good?
Yeah, right.
You know, maybe even walk away." That's still being active, constructive, because you're trying to move a situation forward. You're not trying to
moving it forward in the best possible way.
Exactly.
That's the way, in the best possible way. So. What do you think? Is this a good place to start wrapping it up?
Yes, let me summarize real fast. Passive constructive means that you're not giving any effort into the conversation. You're being passive. Sure, you're responding here and there, but you're not showing any interest. Leaves a person feeling that you're not there, that you don't care about them.
Unworthy, less than.
Unheard, and most likely in this scenario, people will leave feeling like, why did I even tell this person anything?
Right. I don't want to share anything with them in the future.
Like maybe we can be cool, but I'm not going to say anything deep or, you know, personal. And then there's passive destructive, where sure you're engaging kind of, but you turn the conversation back to you. And so the conversation never really even started.
Conversation's about you.
Yeah.
It's you found something to grab onto and now it's about you.
Yes. Anything.
Yeah.
And you leave the person feeling like, do I even exist?
Do I matter?
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's active destructive. And that's typically when you are responding, you're engaging, you're active, but you're very negative towards whoever you're talking to. You know, you're responding in a very negative way.
Yeah.
And that leaves the person feeling worse leaving the conversation than they did coming in.
It's almost as if you view the world as an argument and you're trying to like actively break down everybody's statements, words, or responses with your whatever you're going through.
And you know, I have a lot of empathy and compassion for people who are active destructive, and the reason being is because you know how they say misery loves company. It's typically like if someone's being negative with you, that's normally how they respond to themselves. Yeah. And so that just means they're going through it.
Take it from somebody like I am sometimes that way.
Right.
So sometimes I'm not going through I'm not in the best situation mentally, and sometimes it's so overwhelming that I can't be present for you right now, and then I'll unconsciously be negative. You know, like, and that's something I have to work on.
And I take it back. I'm compassionate and understanding of all, because for passive constructive, I look at it like, okay, perhaps they're just going through something. They got a lot on their plate and they don't got time for anyone, really. Right. 2, passive destructive, I look at it and say, oh, wow, like they're very insecure and they're just trying to find their place in this world. Right. And then
from all of them, you need
active,
you need to practice empathy from each perspective.
Yes.
Of course.
And then we just said active, destructive. Now, active, constructive, that's the best way. It leaves people feeling heard, worthy, that, you know, safe. Because even if it's a negative situation and you're walking in trying to tell someone something that's probably uncomfortable, you probably leave feeling better than when you walked in. Right. Because you're like, oh, wow, that went a lot better than I thought.
Right. It helps to put yourself in that person's shoes, you know?
Yes. Wow, that was a long episode. Yeah. Anyways.
So if you really liked this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on @Perspective Television on audio and streaming platforms. We will be airing every Tuesday and Friday. We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, and we're going to see you guys on the next episode.
Yes.
Peace.
We love you guys. Bye.